Hi, welcome to my channel. Slightly different video today. I wanted to kind of review an event I went to on Friday called Londons Calling. So been there, worn the t-shirt, literally. Londons Calling is an event aimed at people in the Salesforce system, so consultants like myself and developers, ISVs, customers as well, but specifically not Salesforce people. So there's no Salesforce employees there. Salesforce aren't sponsoring it or whatever and putting their kind of spin on what they want. This is very much people who work in that kind of ecosystem, and I was recommended to go there. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a review. This is unscripted. I've just written a few notes down that I'll refer to as I go through, and regarding my experiences about that. First thing is, let's just talk about the t-shirt. It's a nice quality t-shirt. It fits me well. I just don't like these transfer. This is one of these kind of vinyl transfers. They iron on it in mass production. It makes them really uncomfortable. I wouldn't have wanted to wear this in the heat on Friday. It would have made it really uncomfortable. For the sake of a couple of extra pounds, get them properly printed on, and then they're much more comfortable to wear. I'm more likely to wear this more often. I mean, I'll wear this today to do this video, and then that's probably it for my amount of wearing it. And for the sake of the cost, in fact, let's talk about cost, because the London Calling event is not free. You have to pay to go to there, unlike the Salesforce World Tour events where I don't pay anything at all, and I can attend the event, eat their food, drink their wine, and that's all been paid for by the stand sponsors. This is obviously different. They don't have that amount of big sponsors, so they charge a cost, and it's not cheap. £192 I paid for my ticket for the day, and I got food and drinking. We'll talk about that in a moment, and this t-shirt. I'd have probably paid another few pounds to have a kind of better quality garment. That's just my my take on that. Don't spoil the ship for a ha'porth for tar is the old saying, and I would expect that most people's t-shirts will just kind of go away and never be used again to promote. That's my gripe anyway. So let's have go back. What else we can talk about that? Another gripe, London's Calling. Kind of alienates people like myself. I'm from Midlands, and there was a few people I met there kind of further up north, Sheffield and so on. I kind of understand it might be kind of a throwback to the Clash record, London's Calling. And of course, yes, Salesforce is a very much London-centric industry. Nearly all the jobs you'll see on LinkedIn are based in London. Most of the developers and so on base themselves in London. But, there is an ecosystem of people who are not there, and, kind of gets up their back a little bit when they use the word London. Why not UK's Calling, for instance? Might make it a bit more wide. Again, just another gripe. It may be that that the organisers, Francis Pindarby and one of them, maybe are Clash fans, and they use that as a kind of a bit of an in joke or whatever. That's fair enough. It's just my opinion. Okay, we'll talk about some of the good things. Okay, so booking was via Eventbrite, no complaints there, nice and smooth, dead easy, put payments through, get plenty of updates and calendar updates. I mean, there's no complaints about the Eventbrite product. The other thing that's really very good is they use a pre-built app, which is called, is it WOA? I think it's called there. Which is quite a good idea. Rather than try and build your own app and try and reinvent the wheel, this particular app is really fully featured. I was using it a few days before, so I could kind of log in and see who was going to be there, what the agenda was. More importantly, and this was the main thing that really sold it for me, what the menus were, because I wasn't quite sure when I paid my £192 was I going to get fed and so on. And I did, and pretty well indeed, I have to say. That's a plus for them. So nice little bowls of food made their way out. In fact, I had breakfast, So I didn't bother having breakfast at the hotel, which was a Premier Inn. It was pretty awful anyway. So, I could get there early and have a nice breakfast. They did lots and lots of catering for people who were vegan. I'm not vegan, but I am pescatarian, so I don't eat meat. And I'm more kind of interested in the organic side of things as well, if I can. And there was loads of choice for that. No complaints whatsoever on that. The catering was pretty good. There seemed to be plentiful amounts of that, and loads of coffee. And they gave alternatives on the milks as well. If I wanted oat milk, for instance, I could eat that. So absolute no complaints as well. I would also like to say that venue is a great venue. It was called the Brewery, not far from kind of Liverpool Street and so on, where the main places are. I'll put the address somewhere down. I can't remember the exact address now, but obviously it was an old brewery converted into an event space. Really great. It was a nice kind of quirky place, old London brick building, but inside lots and lots of rooms in there where they could have kind of loads of breakout events. Have to say that the facilities in there, the sound facilities, being a bit of a musician myself, I can kind of spot the things that they got there, the mixing desks and the actual sound equipment, and the sound teams as well were really on it. The minute they caught a microphone not quite loud enough, they were up there and fixing it, or they were swapping microphones over and so on. So it's obviously an event location that's really, really used to it, and really made it run smoothly. So that was really, really good as well. So again, really enjoyed that. And I'd have to say also the staff at the event, from putting your bags in to going to get your breakfast or wherever, a cup of coffee or whatever, they were all really, really good. And guys on the doors and so on, really, really good, really very, very helpful, well trained. So that was great. It was good, a really good venue to have an event, and some great rooms as well. So that was really, really interesting. The thing that another thing I just want to talk about, and this is me going into my dinosaur mode here, is no one's found a good solution for business cards. Last couple of events I've been to down in Salesforce Tower, in fact, I've been to a couple there, and I took some business cards with me and I handed them out. It was almost as if I got the lurgy. Oh, what's that? A business card. And that's fine. We can move digital. But, how do you move digital? Do I go to London's Calling and use the WOAV app, which I did try that actually, where I logged into the app and then I met somebody, and then as I'm walking away, I'm finding them on here and saying, can I connect to you? But of course, I'm not sure the longevity of that app and the event, and probably the people I'm connecting to might not log into it again. So I still got to get back onto LinkedIn really to connect to them. So, okay, there's a QR code on my entrance badge, but I imagine that's to the WOAV app again. And we need to kind of solve that, don't we? Where people can, have the QR code for LinkedIn. One guy I spoke to kind of had that ready on his phone and so on, but I don't feel like we've really solved that yet. The old way of, exchange a business card and take home, the business cards of the people, and you could write on the back or whatever, hot prospect or whatever, doesn't seem to have been addressed yet. So I, kind of found that a bit awkward at times. I'm not saying that's London Calling's fault, by the way. I've been to Salesforce events as well, where it's the same kind of thing. It just maybe for a future, that people have on their badges their LinkedIn QR code, possibly, or email address QR code, or WhatsApp QR code, just so kind of people can keep in touch. So that was kind of another thing. There was a bunch of exhibitors, of course. They had a main hall where probably about 20, I guess, different exhibitors around the room that you could go around, and that was fine. What I would say about all the exhibitors, and I've noticed this also in kind of the Salesforce events as well, they kind of changed a bit. Whereas you used to be seeing lots of things about improving your sales and marketing and all kind of really positive apps. I'm noticing that a lot of the ones now are about secure your data. Don't let anybody get in and do a malware problem or ransomware on you. So there's lots about securing data, as if people have now got, Salesforce has got so big that everybody's targeting it. So it's quite dark on a lot of the exhibitors, or it was automation stuff. There was a couple that were quite nice. There was one called Rocket Cell. That was quite a nice one. I've got a meeting with them to talk about potential clients, which was telephony based, and that was using AI and so on. So that was quite useful. And there was a couple of accounting ones there as well, if you want to add account systems on. But most of them were kind of very defensive. That's the word, defensive. Rather than kind of being proactive in their overall style of apps that were there. So that was kind of interesting. From an event point of view, I like the kickoff event that started as well, because when the organisers got up and welcomed everybody and done all their stuff, they did a kind of a demo jam, and that was really useful. I've logged in on one of Salesforce Ben's ones to look at the demo jams, and they're quite interesting, certainly from my perspective, because I can see lots of apps quite quickly. And the demo jam they had on, I probably knew 2 of them already, but there was another 6 or 7 I hadn't seen before, and you get a really, really quick insight of that. So that was really useful. I'd like to have seen more of that actually throughout the day. So that was really very, very good. Then apart from that, it was a lot of kind of breakout events, and obviously I couldn't go to them all. There was lots of them going on throughout the day, and the staff were very, very keen to come round and kind of tell you the events are about to start. You must go to the events. Obviously, it's in their vested interest to make the events nicely supported. Events-wise, the ones I went to, they were okay. They were fine. I'd like them to have been a bit, a little bit slicker. So, I had a couple where I went to where, solution architects or technical architects or consultants were getting up and talking about, improving the process of projects and so on. Basically saying, do more research on the project before you start building it, ask more questions. And they were okay, general kind of PowerPoint style ones. Not terribly slick, I'd say they were okay. I couldn't complain about the speaker, but I'd like something a bit more pizzazz, I guess. I went to one to do with putting product onto the App Exchange. Quite a useful one, but again, just could have done with more pizzazz to it. And one about reporting, which is kind of an interest of mine, because obviously I get a lot of clients who kind of struggle with reporting. So that was kind of interesting to see that as well. So they weren't bad. There was plenty of content. Obviously I couldn't go and see all of them, no way. But interesting and pretty good. So not a lot of complaints about that in particular. They also then put on entertainment. So after, in the evening, as I stayed. By the way, the other thing I want to mention is I got there at 8:15, which was the opening time, and there was already queues. The event was massive in the amount of people there. It was really, really busy. It was a very hot day as well. Which sometimes was a little bit of a struggle. But yeah, really, really busy. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit at the end, about my purpose for going on that. But say back to the entertainment. So they pushed the boat out a bit, and they'd got a famous entertainer on who'd won Britain's Got Talent, and he came on at 6 o'clock doing his kind of magician's mind reading kind of act. Really professional, great. It's not kind of my type of thing, because I never know whether those people in the audience are plants or whatever. I don't know, but he was very good. He was very professional, and really knew his stuff. So no complaints about that. It's just not necessarily my type of thing, but obviously they paid a fair bit to get a well-known professional act in there, so great for that. And just as I was getting ready to leave, I said, because I got there at 8:15, I'd been there all day, and it was about 6:20 in the evening by then. Just having a glass of red wine and a fillet of fish burger, which was great, by the way. There was a band about to start, and I'm a bit of a muso myself, so I could tell they were a good band. Just the setup and the equipment, and the way they were getting and preparing themselves before they went on, and the sound engineer was doing all the sound checks and so on. So I knew they were going to be a good class act, and probably a couple of £1,000 worth of act, knowing what I know about that kind of side of things. So yeah, lots of stuff, and it was still pretty busy then. So a lot of people had stayed, which is great. So it was a good all round packed entertainment, and generally good show. What do I get out of it? Well, I wanted to go and do some kind of networking, meet some new people, make contact with people I hadn't met before, and a bit of that did happen. The problem is, it's so busy and so noisy, it's hard to have that kind of conversations, and maybe overhear someone's conversation and kind of jump in and so on. That's kind of hard. So, unless I'm going to just kind of doorstep people as they're walking around and say, "Hi, I'm Robert, I do Salesforce Consultant, what do you do?" Which I guess I could have done. It was difficult to really get much more networking out of that. And maybe that's something the organisers might want to think about, where there might be some, I don't know, quieter places, or there's some almost these networking events where you push so many people in the room and they have to go around and introduce themselves or whatever. Maybe a bit more of that. I mean, there were some people I hadn't seen for a number of years and kind of connected with again, and that was great. And there were some new people I kind of hooked up with and exchanged information about. But it was kind of a bit more aligned to kind of some of the Salesforce ones where it's just so much noise going on. It's kind of difficult to do that. So would I go again? Yeah, I think so. I think it's nice to see an event that's not necessarily Salesforce's point of view, and to see somebody else's point of view. It's good to kind of see product. I think it would be good if I wanted to meet up with people kind of London based and say, well, I'll meet you at London's Calling on such and such a day. I think it would be pretty useful for that. And at least that you've got everything there, you're self-contained, all your food's there, your drinks there, everything you could kind of possibly need. Bit of a ramble, so kind of sorry about that. I'm just hoping that anybody's kind of interested in that kind of event and is thinking of going can get some use out of the video. If you've liked this video, actually, if you could just kind of like it down below, it'd be great. And if you're really interested in Salesforce, then subscribe to my channel, because I put up kind of hints and tips on the Salesforce system that may be useful to you. And if you're looking for anything kind of Salesforce related, then give me a shout. I think my contact details are kind of down below, or you can email me, robert@zonprojects.com. I hope you've enjoyed that, and thanks for listening.